Light your torch, things could get dark. These are the best dungeon crawlers to play in 2021. Open world games are great. The freedom to explore as far as the horizon stretches, beautiful sunsets to enjoy while riding your horse, but sometimes we're happy to give it all up and head underground for the promise of loot and some exciting fighting. Dungeon crawlers are a chance to pick up a weapon and try your luck for glory, power, or some good old gold coins as you battle through labyrinthine passages. Taking on tough bosses or terrifying traps, you have to battle room by room, biome by biome to make it out, or to the treasure at the heart. It's not going to be easy. It's not always underground, but it sure is fun along the way. Before we disappear into the depths though, don't forget to subscribe to the Logitech G channel for more videos on games and the best gear to play them on. Okay, grab a sword, here are the best dungeon crawlers to play in 2021.
Have a great day.
Not all dungeons in dungeon crawlers look like literal dungeons. In the case of Death's Door, they can be crumbling graveyards, haunted mansions, and twisting forests. And they can also be morbidly charming. As an adorable crow and a reaper of souls, you set off to each area in search of your assigned soul, which was stolen. Each dungeon feels totally different, from the layouts to enemies to the main reason for crawling, the final boss, who you get to learn about through NPCs or snooping in their home along the way. Usually you learn how utterly afraid you are of their gargantuan form, but this is a brave little crow. The way to each boss isn't always linear either, meaning exploration is important to find pots to grow healing flowers or to pick up extra soul energy for upgrades along the way. Look, we'll stop crowing on about it, just go play. We didn't see a dungeon crawler coming from Minecraft developers Mojang, but maybe we should have. A game that often has you heading deep below the ground on short runs? Sounds about right. However, Minecraft Dungeons is so much more than a deadly diamond hunt. It does dungeon crawling and it does it well. Minecraft Dungeons isn't as complex as something like Diablo, so you can jump in without googling complex skill trees first. You work your way through each area fighting some familiar and totally new mobs, while picking up lots of lovely loot. Just how we like it. It somehow made the classic blocky art dynamic and exciting too. We could wander under those autumnal trees forever if skeletons would stop shooting at us. We'll need more than a diamond sword for this one. The much anticipated second installment to Darkest Dungeon is here now in early access. This time you're not delving underground to the traditional dungeons of the previous cursed estate. Instead, your goal is to reach a distant mountain. You travel in a wagon passing through various biomes and encountering fights or help along the way. It also has a new feature of 4 heroes that stick with you the whole run, or permanently die trying, which is especially painful as these people bond over time, creating lasting relationships or rivalries through the procedurally generated story. So by the time you finally reach the mountain, you'll know them all intimately. There are other classes to unlock as you go, so when your first 4 inevitably die along the way, you can select a range of others to take up their mantle. It's as wonderfully dark and bleak as ever, but what else would a true dungeon crawl offer?
All problems have their solutions.
Runs through the dungeons of hell don't instantly sound appealing, but with Supergiant's art style and attractive gods to meet along the way, you can't help coming back for more. Hades is about Zagreus trying to escape hell and his father Hades, but that's easier said than done when you have to climb through each layer of increasingly tough monsters and your father's cohort trying to stop you. The hack and slash combat is fast-paced and challenging enough to make you want to try just one more time after each failed escape. Plus, it pays to push yourself because even in death, you're rewarded. Returning to the House of Hades is a chance to progress the story, further befriend residents of Hell, or take on upgrades and do some sneaky renovations. And the procedurally generated dungeons keep you sharp, and the offerings from the gods keep you interested. Interested in getting their numbers, but one thing at a time.
Yes, carry on everyone, don't mind me.
Sometimes in a dungeon crawler, you want a good old-fashioned, underground, torch-lit, totally cursed dungeon. And Curse of the Dead Gods delivers stone walls and everything. Labyrinthine catacombs await, filled with untold riches, if you're brave enough to look for them. You explore the procedurally generated dungeons, fighting enemies, avoiding traps, collecting loot, and curses as you go. The longer you spend in the dungeons, the stronger the curse grows, providing great power, but deadly consequences too. It's a constant challenge to progress further, with the doom always hanging over you, knowing it can only be lifted if you reach a boss in time. Oh, and beware of the dark. Make sure you light torches along the way to avoid that damage sneaking up on you. It's not really a holiday destination, but when you're after power and eternal life, you've got to make some blood sacrifices. Don't be fooled by the pastel colors and cool slides. Your internship is not going well. In Going Under, your office is built upon the grounds of many failed tech startups now filled with lost workers turned monsters. So your duty as office drudge is to go to these cursed ruins and deal with them. It's bright and weird, and you'll want to soak up every detail in each dungeon, especially if work-based satire is your thing. Avocado toast heals you, and apps are your best help in combat. Going Under isn't just good to look at. The combat is fast-paced and fun, with a mechanic that means anything can be a weapon, from office wear and potted plants to some actual spiked clubs and stuff if you're lucky. But swinging filing cabinets and keyboards are always our favorite, although we do not recommend a G915 as a weapon. Dungeon crawling can get lonely, but it doesn't have to. Why not bring a date? A date who is also a sword. Boyfriend Dungeon is about facing your inner demons through dungeons, but your weapons are people who transform into swords and daggers. Incredibly hot people, of course. You split your time battling through flaws of intimacy issues personified and dating the roster of weaponry on offer. You get to know their attack style and deepest desires. It's a great way to break up the fighting with some tender story moments and humorous hijinks. Yes, that is a cat I'm seeing right now, but its knuckle dusters are great, okay? The diverse lineup of datables and fun combat show that dungeoneering doesn't have to be bleak. This is the perfect respite after Darkest Dungeon has broken your heart too many times. They say the cure is a night on the town with a saber, right? Turns out, Hades isn't only keeping his son in hell, but sending out a task force into the abyss to defeat the rising new gods, such as those of mobile devices and screens. Kids these days never worshipping the right deity. Luckily, in Neon Abyss, you're here with a gun and a ton of confidence, or stupidity, to bring them down. There are Metroidvania elements as you collect keys and bombs to unlock new areas, roguelite ones as you level up each run ready to tackle the next, but for this list, we've enjoyed exploring the labyrinth of rooms and battling our way through the procedurally generated dungeons to reach each boss. While it's a pretty classic loop and even has some stone walls, a lot more of the combating gear is unique to Neon Abyss. These colourful orbs are collectible eggs to hatch into a weird menagerie to help in fights. So Pokemon meets bullet hell chaos? Sign us up. Sometimes, the best part of exploring a dungeon is the unknown. The loot waiting to be found, new biomes to discover, it's all there just waiting for someone brave enough or stupid enough to go looking. Well, Noita certainly has a lot of unknowns. You enter a mysterious cave mouth and the rest is basically up to you. Exploring as deep as you can, gaining as much power and loot before inevitably dying and having to start all over again. Your knowledge is the only thing you carry to the next delve, which will mainly focus on the fact that every single pixel can react to what happens. Explosions, fire, water, acid, the whole world is changeable and destroyable. You'll very quickly learn to avoid spreading flames or toxic sludge, or use it to your advantage. Enemies don't like being burned either. Noita has procedurally generated dungeons to explore for as long as you can stay alive. So brush off your robes and keep trying. So, those were some of the best dungeon crawlers to play in 2021. Let us know your favorite underground places to get lost in the comments below. If you enjoyed, give this video a like and subscribe to Logitech G for more on games and the best gear to play them on.